I
Sun is
know,
Yeah.
shining.
long time.
Gr-
Sun is shining.
Great to be back.
Yeah,
Great
I
to be
know.
back.
Welcome back, and glad you're negative in a positive way. So,
Yeah,
uh,
positive in a negative way.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But no, Oilers just scored. In Alberta right now,
Woo!
NHL
Yay.
hockey.
Yeah.
Edmonton is against Calgary, which we're because we're from the same province. It's a lifelong kind of rivalry that's happening. But they are
Nice.
in we're in round two right now of the playoffs. But anyways, enough of NHL. Glad that Luke is healthy again. He looks like nothing has happened. I know he's trying to mute the cough, but all good. Just cough it out, man. It's all
I'm
right. It's all
muted.
right.
I'm muted.
In the elbow. In the elbow. No, guys.
Exactly. In the
Um,
mask.
in the mask, I know. But today's topic, we're going to be talking about design your life. So this topic, we're going to be touching on quite a wide range of kind of the art and science of entrepreneurship. I don't, I'm not going to profess that I've got the science down of entrepreneurship, but I think all
Mm.
three of us have explored and experienced in our own ways and systemized what we uh, find effective, and then it becomes a science. So I think the art,
Mm.
like we were discussing prior to this, is basically exploring of what
Mm.
can be effective, and being curious about possibilities that can be added to your system that can be replicated and eventually becomes a science, so that you can keep duplicating a same outcome that you desire. So
Mm.
then there is that balance with life. Otherwise, I find entrepreneurship, it's kind of integrated into your life to start, before you can truly live without kind of the work side of it. Because yeah, ultimately there is a goal that we're trying to achieve, right? So, but I don't know.
Mm.
To you guys, what do you guys feel in terms of entrepreneurship for you guys
Mm.
now?
Yeah. I just want to say hi to the Remus there saying
Hi,
keep your
Remus.
Oh,
comment. Yeah.
hi, hi, Remus. How are you? Oh, sexy guys, nice. Sexy Andre first, so I think there is a hierarchy there, but I'll take number two. So no, not I'll take a number two, but I'll take the second spot. So sorry, but anyways, okay, Andre, go ahead then. How is entrepreneurship
Ah,
to
man,
you?
it's a game of experimentation, right?
Mm,
It's kind of going back to like, hey, what that type of lifestyle do I want to achieve in design? And it's really hard to think out of the gate because I'm like, what
mm,
is my purpose or what type of life do I want? And it's only going through the experience that I can start
mm,
knowing what it is. The clarity starts to come. So
yes,
really just taking that action, taking that first step and
yeah,
trusting that it's just every day. Just keep taking that step and have faith that clarity will come. And the clarity
mm,
will come is when the science starts to appear and you start finding patterns in the way you behave. Like when are your peak times? When are your low times? And you schedule around that, right?
mm-hmm,
Your early
mm-hmm,
bird, night owl. What type of habits do you like to continue doing? What habits do you want to replace? What are you great at? Right? What are your zones of genius? And what is it something that you want to outsource or give to someone else? So I just find that a lot of us are looking for the science, right? I'm looking for the magic pill. I want the formula, and we apply the formula. Though sometimes we resist. Like we, even though the formula is right there, you can search it online, though we don't do it. You just gotta figure
I
yourself
know,
out first, right? You just gotta experiment with it, and then you find your groove, and then you're optimal. It's kind of like it's ease and flow, and you're swimming downstream instead of upstream, and forcing it to happen when you haven't really figured yourself out yet. And this came up
totally.
for me because I'm currently learning the skill of copywriting, which I
Mm,
realize is an art and science because I'm banging my head, figure out. And for those people listening in, what copywriting is a method of writing that speaks to you as a reader, that
mm-hmm,
pulls you in and connects through the heart, through connection. So there's a resonance and a relatability through stories.
mm-hmm,
And you
Mm.
might see this through websites or you see how people are promoting what they have offered. And me doing on the other side, I'm missing the mark because I don't understand yet the art and science of it.
Mm.
But by doing it more and more, I'm starting to see the pattern. And as the pattern starts bubbling up the surface, aha, I start finding the pattern.
mm,
Replicate
word,
that
word.
pattern. And it's kind of like a formula that I just start tweaking now. because now through the art of experimentation comes the science of the implementation.
Yeah, it's like before it can be normalized, like you have to run the reps, you know. I think with exercising, it's the same thing. You find a potential system that someone else has made effective, for example, and then you practice to see if it fits you. And when you find like, oh, this is giving me the outcome and the results that I want, then you keep just like perfecting it. You know, there's this idea is like perfection. I think it's kind of what entrepreneurs seek for, this perfection, but you never really achieve it, but you just get better and better at it. It's like, you know, shooting for the stars, but you get to the moon at least. So like I think always like have like aim big, you know, and then eventually you will get at least probably the outcome that you want, right? So but no, good points, Andre, in terms
Yeah.
of really taking that first step, or and then the few first steps, like keep testing it out. It's not just once, right? Like you have to keep going until you really see the an outcome, so that you can be like, okay, link the input to that output, and then you start making this kind of synapse, or this kind of, you know, connection will become stronger and stronger. So but I don't know, Luke, yeah, in terms of the same topic for you, like entrepreneurship, in terms of the exploration side, you know, learning, exploration, application, like what has that been like for you for entrepreneurship?
I think it has been an interesting journey, and I think what you both said as well, and I resonate with what you said about really just showing up, and sometimes it's
Mm,
doing stuff that you don't feel like doing, that you don't really want to do, because at least, especially on social media, Instagram and things like that, we always you look at entrepreneurship, you look at these guys that they're standing next to their Lamborghinis, and okay, you just need to do this formula and you'll be able to get it. If only, right, if only everyone could do that and be able to do this particular course, and suddenly you're millionaire and you're living the life, living the dream. But at the end of the day, it's doing the stuff that you don't want to do, and showing up
mm,
when nobody wants to show up, to a certain degree, early in the morning, late at night, grinding. There is no hard and fast rules. And even if it means, going back to, I'm in the process of right now transition, just wanting to earn some extra, getting employed for going back to applying for a job in the interim, because as an entrepreneur, at least I used to have this big dream, like, all right, there's going to be this one particular moment where everything just falls into place. I'm going to earn my $1,000,000 or what. It doesn't happen that way. It's just accumulation. It's accumulation of all your different, your setbacks, and the stuff that you throw on the wall. You see what sticks. And in order to know
mm,
what sticks, you need to try it first. You need to try copywriting. You need to try
yes.
public speaking. You need to try coaching. You need to
Mm-hmm,
try digital marketing. Just try everything. And
mm-hmm,
sometimes certain things may feel more natural, certain things may feel harder. But the stuff that feels natural is stuff that you normally want to do, that you love to do. And sometimes it's a case of finding the balance between what you love to do, but what you don't really want to do or like to do, but maybe see understand that side of things a little bit more, and understand enough so that maybe down the track you can outsource it, or maybe learn more about it. But back to what I was saying, is just throwing everything on the wall and seeing what sticks. But once you find something that sticks, it comes back down to what you just shared, Andre, as well. All right, that sticks. Let's see why that sticks. Let's try and replicate that. And that's just like, creating an online program, finding, okay, I did a 20% conversion. Okay, now I want to replicate that. Now I can go into Facebook ads and start seeing how I can monetize and maximize the sales. But in order to get there, you need to first launch that first webinar, get over your fear
mm,
of speaking to an audience. And a lot of it is fear. A lot of times is not wanting to do stuff that you should be doing, because I think a lot of it is just fear, and being like, oh, imposter syndrome. I think we chatted previously about that, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling
mm-hmm,
like there's always someone better than you. Let's say if you're looking, you're going to starting as a personal trainer, you just got your certification and you want to be a personal trainer, and then you want to apply for a gym, and then you look at all the boards of the team members, that, oh my goodness, this guy has done that. He's been a bodybuilder, he's been an athlete, and here I am, just a new personal trainer. But everybody started somewhere.
Yes,
And
yes.
so
Yep.
we gotta just gotta get your mind out of comparing yourself with other people, and just starting and just throwing all the darts and seeing what sticks. And when something sticks,
Yeah,
do more of that.
totally, totally. Well said, Luke. And I think just to jump on that idea too, it's sometimes our ego does get in the way quite a lot. It's like we're too good for this, or we've built this whole kind of uh, our own little empire, let's say, of the successes we've had already, and then this new idea comes in sometimes that flips that totally around, but it might be a better idea, but sometimes we feel that we're too cool for school, kind of an idea of we can't
100%.
we're unwilling to kind of bring ourselves down to learn again. Oh, I think we scored again 2-0. But anyways, so yes, but anyways, so it's what I've been doing recently is putting myself in a discomfort in terms of a skill set that I want to learn. For example, writing newsletter for email campaigns. I personally don't. Oh, Andre is so amazing. We got some friends here. That's awesome.
Oh,
So it's he's like the expert. Oh, high five to Andre. But let's say, for example, I didn't enjoy newsletter writing, in terms of structure, creating making sure the campaign is sent. There's so much technology involved in email campaigns now that initially I had this whole block of like, I know it's not a hard technology, but I have to like learn all this stuff. Why don't I just do live stream, post on like social media and stuff like that? But email, I've noticed recently, it's still the most widely used
mhm.
channel of conversation. And Andre, for you, like you're doing copywriting now, it
Yeah.
applies to anything, like still email and
Mm.
obviously the socials and obviously your website. But it's like I put myself in, so I'm part of this BNI chapter right now as a president, and as a president you have to write newsletters weekly to update the members. And what better opportunity for me to have it as a necessity? It is a necessary skill for me to have for that role, so that I get to practice that skill set. Naturally, it fulfills the side of delivering as a president, but also me as in learning about email campaigns and writing newsletters.
Mm.
And for example, coming back a little bit in time, hosting these live streams and being an MC for events and stuff made my public speaking so much better. And
Mhm.
not because it's not just in digital. Like I remember having our first in-person meeting with those business networking events. I was a better speaker even in the in-person, which I was so surprised, like, because there was no fear. It was more of what can I deliver in terms of having a great meeting, and the way I speak, my cadence, and the actual intent and outcome that I wanted for what I'm saying. Everything became so much smoother because I have this practice of just live
Mm.
streaming nonstop, hosting nonstop. So I really urge people to find maybe an avenue, not specifically, train. Let's say for Andre, for copywriting, let's say you take a spot in an article for like a local neighborhood article newsletter or something and write
Mhm.
for them. So you have to start figuring out how to have good copywriting so that you
Mm.
have a specific outcome for that article, for example.
Right.
And I think it's a good practice to also, you lower your ego a little bit to start anew, but you get to supply great information at the same time you also are learning that skill set. So that's what I felt has been such uh, a blessing in terms of finding roles that allow you to practice what you're not good at.
Mm.
Because then naturally you have to keep doing it. I have to do this for a year at least. Let's say if I hopefully ideally I can get that role again, but we have to switch presidency. But if I can keep being in a role of writing and writing, I'll just get better at it naturally, right? So good points, Luke and Andre. In terms of the other, let's say, okay, Mr. President Romy, are
Yeah,
you going to
for the country.
take over?
I vote for you, man.
The country, the digital country, yes, of my own brand. Because I'm a coach in personal branding right now. I've been teaching people how to quick start their own personal branding through their own story and recognition. I have this leap system. How do you learn? How do you explore? How do you apply? And the last is how do you perfect? So it's this kind of a system that I bring a person from a point A of them not knowing, not haven't discovered their own story, to how do you share the story to whoever you want to share it with. Because ultimately, if you don't have your personal story, someone will make it up for you.
Mhm.
And it's you taking that responsibility of creating your own. Not saying you have to, but if this is a part of your business that can create and establish more trust right off the get-go, it's worth creating that story and putting it out there. But I'd like to, I don't know, being a president is a lot of responsibilities. I still
That's
love doing it. I love taking on challenges. But yes, how about you guys? How do you guys develop your skill sets? What is your practice and regiment of doing the reps?
mm, yeah. For me right now, it's just because there's so much to learn, right? And I'm just always
Mm,
growing and transforming. I'm now prioritizing what I get to learn now. So I learn on
mm,
the fly of what I need to
mm-hmm.
apply. So instead of learning everything, I'll give you an example. I'm currently learning positive intelligence and being certified in that
Nice.
program and specializing in these saboteurs. Well, I can learn and like invest in a weekend on top of what I'm doing to learn all the saboteurs. Though, would
Mm,
that be an efficient use of my time? Or would I just specify and learn one saboteur that's related to a client I'm coaching? So I pick and
mm,
choose depending on the situation of now, and I curate that learning so I don't feel overwhelmed. I do it as needed. So that helps me kind of filter out the noise that's out there. Oh, Romy,
for sure,
looks like
for
you're
sure.
talking.
I think
Okay,
we're
you're back
having
now.
a tiny bit of,
Hey, Luke, you good? I
I
think
know
you
it's
and I
probably
were good,
me.
right? Yeah.
Am I back? Am I back? I'm back.
You're
Sorry,
you're back. You're
sorry.
back. You're
Just
back.
ignore me.
Yeah.
Um, let me see if I. Yeah, you guys are good. You guys are good. Ignore me.
Okay. Okay.
I'm in the mountains, in Canmore, but so sorry I don't have my pro set up to make it. But you guys are good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. 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 It's good now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will pass it to myself, I guess. Everything smoother now. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like, how do you divvy it up to bite size
Hmm.
kind of reps? Doing like 30 minutes in the gym when you just start out, or even 20 minutes, let's say, and then doing it, once every other day, rather than once a week where you're going 2.5 hours. You can picture it that your body's going to be overloaded. The recovery is going to be a lot tougher, and it's hard for your body to adapt right away if you push so hard. I think it's in every aspect of life when you're trying to develop a new skill set. It's like investments too. If you invest $1 daily rather than trying to invest like $1,000 in a year, kind of a thing, it's a lot more challenging, kind of a thing. So again, kind of
Bite
bite
size.
size your skill set learning, so that you can pick it up and apply it to things where it can become effective. I think that's a great method, Andre, of just choosing a saboteur that fits the client,
Yeah.
because then it sticks in for the client and yourself too, of how you're helping them, right? So
Hmm.
but Luke, I guess, how do you develop your skill sets when you are trying to learn something new? Oh, are
Oh,
you on mute still?
wow.
Sorry,
You're mute.
I think you're on
You're mute.
mute. Okay,
Oh,
we lost his
sorry.
voice. Oh, there you go. You're back.
Sorry.
There you go.
There we go. Back.
That
I
that
think
COVID's pretty tough. No, just kidding.
It is. It is. I lost my voice for whole. But yeah, what do I, what's the first thing that I do? I guess it's just a case of really finding out what areas I'm lacking. At least for me, my example is understanding the whole funnel, digital marketing side of things. Hence,
Mm,
that's how we met in the course because there is so many moving parts. There is
Mhm.
email automation, and I found that previously because I wasn't good at that, I was relying on other business partners for all of that to do all the heavy lifting. And that is the problem because by relying so much on someone when they pike, when they fail, it's just like a restaurant owner who relies 100% of the business on the chef. And if the chef
mm,
walks, you're
done.
left with nothing. You are done. Your restaurant is done. So I've worked with a couple of business partners, and it didn't work out, and there I was left hanging to a certain degree. Like I don't know this digital marketing. I don't understand funnels. So, what is the best way to prevent something like that from happening? And why does it keep happening to me rather than being that victim? If it keeps happening to you, to me, there is something that I need to change because I haven't learned my lesson. So what is the lesson? I need
Mm,
to understand this beast. I need to learn
Mhm.
and really just and take it in bite-sized chunks because as you know, it's just so many and it's just like fitness. Do you do hit? Do you do cardio? Do you do bodybuilding? Do you do CrossFit? Do you do
100%.
rowing? Like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what. Do I do this 20 minutes, 20-minute mobility flow? I don't know, but you just gotta start somewhere. And back to what I said, you just gotta see what sticks and what you love doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just grinding through the workout, the metaphorical workout for a few, because there is that phase where all of a sudden you may pick when you just learn something new and you might get the concepts. It's like, oh, you're having like wins, and all of a sudden you reach that point where it goes like whoop, and then after that you're just
Yeah.
like, oh goodness, where I don't know what
Everything
the
makes
hell I'm doing
sense.
because yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that you might plateau, and that may be a
Mhm.
false peak, and then you might need to go up again.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like snowboarding. It's hard to pick up. It is easy to pick up, but hard to progress. I think skiing is hard to pick up, but easy to progress.
Uh,
Something along those lines.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
it's really just being able to stay in the game. And for me right now is just understanding and leaning into stuff that I used to rely on others off on, and right now is kind of the business side of things, and also changing my beliefs. I think
Mm,
let's say if I have a belief that money is hard to earn, I'm always going to be in that uh,
mind space.
kind of
Yeah.
mind space of
Mm,
lack. However, if it's just energy, I am in abundance. It's just energy. It can come, it can go, and it's just what it is. So basically changing my beliefs, and at the
mm-hmm.
same time leaning into what I've been relying on others with and trying to escape from.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I think there is that kind of striking a balance in terms of teamwork, partnerships. I've gone through a few partnerships in my business career too, and knowing the big picture of things and a little bit of everything at least, and then leaning on the
Mm,
people that are experts at it, um, is an ideal way to go. But then again, everyone's vision has to be quite
mm,
similar in terms of wanting it to succeed. And there's a lot of give that needs to be provided to the team and then that project itself, right? Like right now, like I'm working on a North American badminton league, with the top people in the industry itself. And I actually got to I'm going to be doing an interview, which is I'm so excited about, with the top number one player, Victor Axelsen, next week. So this will open so many doors in terms of getting people to see what we're trying to do, because badminton's not a big sport in North America itself, and we're not getting enough support for it. So once we start this league, ideally, there's so much opportunity. Like we're speaking with, the big brands too. Like I also got to speak with one of the CEOs and the top people in Yonex, for example. And these are all things that it's a test. Like
mm,
Mhm.
bite-sized tests. We have this big
mm,
vision, but you might not know the steps to get to it. Like when you're
Mm,
talking about, rowing, hit, and doing like strength training,
mm,
I can't imagine right now if I started out with workouts again. Like
mm,
there's just so much clutter in terms of like
mm,
noise information that you
mm,
can't, it's hard to capture it's hard to connect the dots. The good thing that time, when I hit my 30s back, 12 years ago, it was very much I had the intention of wanting to be fit, and that why was so strong that I was able to connect and find like a good mentor that led me to do proper workout. And it was from a book. It was LL Cool J's
Yeah.
Platinum 360 program that had the specific exercises, specific reps, specific rests, so that I knew exactly, okay, this guy obviously knows his stuff, and or at least has a right entourage of people around him to provide him right information. And he started with total body, then upper lower, and then push pull leg, and then finally it's like push pull leg with like plyometrics. So it was very simple to pick up, and I'll be like, okay, there is a progression that I can follow. And as coaches, I think we are the ones that help provide that simplification of uh, of the journey and the toolkit, because the outcome
mm,
for everyone of what people desire is different. And jumping
mm,
to Remus's kind of question here, I have a Chinese accent and people can't handle it in listening. What's your suggestion? Remus, I think people can't handle it in listening is your own belief of what other people are thinking. It
mm,
might not be the case. People
mm,
are way more forgiving towards accents, for example, or
mm,
something that you feel that you lack. If you have something that you want to
mm,
give other people, there's always
mm,
patience and kindness that people have
mm,
towards these cultural differences.
Mhm.
Like I've worked with so many people with different accents, so I
mm,
can, if I started like correcting people, I'll be the most hated person on earth.
mm,
So it's more like, if don't worry about that. If you truly are worried about your accent, then practice.
mm,
Watch, I don't know, watch a series show. Like my friend from Taiwan, I was when I met him in business, I was like, how's your English so no, non-accent? It's so American accent. And he's like, I watch Friends every day. I practice and watch a show, so I get to enjoy the show but also practice a proper North American accent. So
mm.
that could be a form of how you can practice, what I was saying. You get to enjoy something but also learn something at the same time. So but
Yeah.
never assume what other people are thinking about you either. I think that's
I agree.
sometimes,
Yep.
yeah, that's sometimes we worry a little too much about, we care too much about what other people think about us in terms of
Yeah,
however we're delivering. There are going to be those people that really
of
don't, let's say
course.
for Remus, they don't like your accent, but
Mm,
those aren't the people that you want to deliver your message to anyways,
Mhm.
so
exactly.
that's already a filter out for it. Sorry, Luke, go ahead.
And just to add to that as well, and I think back when I first moved to Australia, I
Hmm.
didn't have an Australian accent. I went in there, and many of my relatives in Singapore said, "Oh, you shouldn't go to Australia. Australians are very, 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 very racist. They're
Oh.
just going to be so." And what's racism like? Every time I came back from holidays, what's a racism like? It's like I never experienced it because I did not have that filter. I did not go in with that belief saying like,
Mm.
belief saying that Australians are racist. I just went in there, looked at people who as they were. Yeah, of course, they're racist in Singapore and racist everywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the thing is that it's just taking off that filter, and there are people that will resonate with the message. And for me, what really helped improve my English, really, I would say neutralize my accent when I first went to Australia, was really immersing myself, like what you just shared, Romy, watching programs. But beyond that, because when I first went to Australia, I was in the Singapore Students Association. I was in
Nice.
all these little bubbles
Yeah.
within, the community, within the community of. So, but I
A
found that
bigger.
what really shifted for me was when I left that kind of bubble, being in the Asian kind of community, and when going out and hanging out, just all my friends were Australian. So, and
Mm.
just being
Naturally.
the and naturally immerse myself in Australian culture, the certain slangs, the certain lingos that Australians would have that I would not have heard by Australian-born Chinese versus
Mm,
pure Australians, and that's what shifted my mindset towards the way that I spoke and the way that I behaved around people. And I didn't
yeah.
after that I realized that it's not about racism, it's not about Australian, it's not about Asian, it's not about Chinese. It's about, like you, I don't see color. I don't, like you, Andre, you shared it. I just see people, good people versus not so good people.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether I resonate with your energy or I don't. And if I don't,
Mhm.
then maybe it's their issue, not yours to bear.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And this is
Yeah.
a perfect case of self-fulfilling prophecy too.
Yes.
Remus too, like just a suggestion, whatever you project or think about will happen.
Yep.
Because that's what how your actions present themselves will make that scenario in your mind work
Mm,
out that way. And the cool thing is you can think about it in a positive sense too,
Mhm.
and
mm,
it can still manifest itself. So let's say you start taking out that idea that people can't handle your accent, for example, and they love listening to you. If you have that mindset going into it, then it will be fine. Because wait, did we just score again? We scored again. Yes, no,
Ooh,
sorry.
yay!
It's good.
Yay!
Yay! Holy, we're crushing it.
Yes.
But anyways, sorry, Luke. I don't know if you share our excitement, but we could celebrate anything. So,
yeah, my
so it's
wife
like
is
that. You're a fan.
Canadian.
Oh, nice,
Canadian
nice. So,
fan. Montreal
Sport,
okay, a
Canadian.
Canadian
So
fan.
sport brings
Montreal.
together people. It brings together
There,
people. Yeah.
yeah,
that's true. That's true. Also separates people. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so that how you manifest your destiny. How we're talking about designing your life right now, it's exactly the same thing. Like you have to have a clear picture of what you're gonna be, what you want people to receive from you. It's not that you have to, how you say here, Remus, about bearing everything. It doesn't have to. Oh,
Mm.
Andre, all jacked up. Sorry. It doesn't have to feel. It doesn't have to feel that way. That's the secret. It's
Mm,
like you bearing everything, meaning that you're being thrown through challenges a lot. It's kind of like if you didn't even have that assumption that people will have on you, then that wouldn't even be the case. It's like how Luke
mm,
went into a new country and even though he had people telling him that they're not nice, be careful, um, he didn't use that as a projection. Then naturally he was able to receive the things that he wanted to receive.
Mhm.
And same thing, yeah. When people when I know people have, let's say, an issue with me, but I know that I'm delivering something good, I'll be like, that's their issue, not mine. That's kind of like what Luke was saying.
mm,
It's their
Yeah.
problem,
mm.
not my problem. But no,
Yeah.
sorry, Andre. I think you had a point that you wanted
Oh yeah, I
to.
mean, it's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
right. Like you'll find what you're looking for.
yes,
You'll find what you're looking
exactly.
for. And me, for the longest time, I had a negative self-image of myself, and I thought nobody liked me. So I would just
Mhm.
look for proof and evidence of how they would say or look at me to
Yeah,
prove that
Mm,
I'm right.
right,
yeah.
right.
They
Yeah,
might
Yeah.
look at me
Exactly.
weird. Well, they might not be looking at me. They may be looking at someone behind me or something like that. They'll all take it the
you're
wrong
like,
way.
what? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah,
mean?
right. So it just goes back to like perception is projection. Though the great
Yeah.
thing is that there's a thing called neuroplasticity, which means your
Mm,
brain can always build new neural pathways. So you can
solid.
train your mind to look for the positive. Because if you
Yes,
look at it, the law of polarity states that in every negative, there's a positive, right? It's just
exactly.
both sides of the same coin. So now
Yeah,
that you train your mind to always look for the positive, that's what you'll find. And for me, going back to like, I forgot I was Asian. I
yeah.
did.
Mm,
Though before I categorized myself as Asian and I made myself feel inferior because I was Asian. And that was
Ah.
something that I had to break through myself.
Mm-hmm,
But once I
mm-hmm.
saw as human beings, I started having friends of all colors and cultures. It didn't matter. I didn't have to count like, oh, I have black friends or Hispanic friends or anything like
mm.
Exactly.
that. But
Yeah.
before, I would make a big
Three
deal
black
out of it
friends.
because, yeah, I was the only people I was around were Asian people, right? I was around Asian.
Yeah,
Now I'm just friends with human beings.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's just that
Yeah.
that evolution, right? And what I'm focusing on and for. And one thing here too, I want to state is that my physical appearance, like, my ears are big. and I was very insecure about it, and I brought attention to it. Though when now I don't even look at my ears that way anymore, and people don't
Mm-hmm.
even see it until I
Yeah.
say, "Hey, by the way," and I bring up that story, and they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you had
Mm.
ears that are big." Like they didn't even see it, and
Yeah.
I got that feedback immediately because I didn't bring attention to it.
So just jumping on quickly on that too. In psychology, this is the primacy effect of how you bring let's say you have 3 points that you want to bring out to people. If you talk about let's say what you're really proud of, and good news first or bad news first kind of a thing. If you put the bad news first, it always makes the whole thing more negative, whereas if you put the good news first, it sets the tone for the rest. So
Mm,
it's how you set the tone for how you speak to, like, and again, when you, especially when you don't mention it, no one really cares about it. When you start mentioning it, everybody starts noticing it. So that's
Yeah.
the issue where Remus, yeah, I think just to help you out, don't worry about your Chinese accent.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna care if you don't care. I think that's the thing is when you care so much, how you project your communication will be that issue. I used to have the same thing where my self image was also not so positive. Then I did something about it. I went to work out. It's you can solve. There's enough skill toolkits out there and solutions out there for you to access that are free, even that you don't have to pay for, to just test it out. It's how much do you want to change or to shift. And it's fun. It's challenging, but it's fun. Like, truly find ways to enjoy the journey too. I go, oh,
mm.
nice, that's good. Just kickbox those ones that have,
There you
problems
go.
with
Now
you.
you're a lethal weapon, right? I'm
Yeah,
sure you're walking
lethal
around
one.
a bit heavier, right?
If it's like,
Heavier set when you're walking around because you can kick some butt.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like you have a problem with my accent. Just a right hook, knee.
Violence always solves everything.
I, totally. Yeah. Physical violence is the best. No, don't
Cancel,
take that.
cancel.
Someone's gonna like just cut this part and be like violence.
Exactly, and say,
And
yeah. When I
yeah,
run for
totally cancel.
president, and then all of a sudden, this
I
clip
Hey,
know.
comes up.
it's
And just
UFC,
cancel
right? When you
culture.
fight, when
Yeah.
men fight, they also make up and they're best friends, right?
I
So,
know.
Yeah.
I know.
hey,
It's ridiculous.
bygones be
Not
bygones.
saying exactly. So yeah, don't overthink I guess what you think is negative. Because there are people don't even have that thought towards you. I'm sure there me, I've had probably one or two, for example, that are unhappy with the delivery of my services or my products, and I always try to make amends for it. I'll try to see how I can provide a new service for them to make it better, or even provide a refund. But some things you just can't save because the vibes are wrong and
Mm.
the expectations aren't right. So do you dwell on those things and make yourself feel bad? Do you dwell with people that don't make you feel good? I think that's a thing where, find people that when you hang out with them, they make you feel like a trillion bucks, right?
Yeah.
And constantly, speaking of that, chilling with you guys like once a week makes me feel that way. That's why I think we are constantly still doing this because we are being fed by, you know, this little
Mhm.
this little chat that we provide each other, right? I'm guessing they're not ready for you. Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have, the thing is what you provide to the world doesn't have to be received by everybody in the world.
Mhm.
There's
And it
there's gonna be
shouldn't.
a niche. Yeah, exactly. So no, you don't have to please everybody. Luke is good at this. We're trying to make everyone happy. So we did talk about this before, our own saboteurs of
Yeah.
the pleaser, and then it might make you more restless too because you're trying to constantly find solutions for everybody, right? But yeah, Luke, like speaking on that piece of,
Mm.
I guess like what Remus's issue comes up from
Mm.
might be because he wants to make everyone around him happy. That could be a
Mm.
source of the issue. I don't know. Remus can share with us, but we're here to also help out our audience. But Luke, for you, when you were dealing more with, you know, noticing that you are a people pleaser? Because I remember we had that chat too. How
Mm,
did you kind
mm.
of get out of that mindset, or how do you deal with it currently when you see that, you know, arising?
I think being able, I mean, two things. I think for me is my therapy is being able to come back down to, my practices, my journaling, and also my
Nice.
meditation, to be able to take a step back from how I'm feeling and be able to witness myself. So
Mm,
to not really be, I mean, as we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions. They are just clouds that are passing. It's
hmm.
how we how we grasp onto that and make meanings of those thoughts and emotions that makes us make that creates our reality. So that's number one, being able to take. But I think the number two thing is action. Taking action. What action can I take? And I saw this post
Mm,
a while back. There are two things that, there are certain days that we just show up, and there's certain days that we just wake up and everything doesn't feel right. We just feel
yeah.
negative. We feel insecure. Our finances are not where, our relationship. But at the end of the day, there are two things that we can change every single day, which is our effort and our attitude. So these are the two simple things that we have full control and access to. So the effort, which is what is the one thing that you can do? A lot of times when I feel like I'm in limbo and I just feel lousy about things, it's because I'm just kind of stuck and wallowing in this stagnant pond. And that stagnant pond is my emotions, because there's no movement, there's no expression of energy through my thoughts and emotions. There's no expression of energy through movement. So that's why I'm stuck. So really it's just movement. What action can I take? And then the next
Mm,
thing is attitude, and I think the simple thing that I always get my clients to do is how can you change your attitude and change your mentality in a flash? Your posture, because your posture and the way you stand, the way you look at the world affects your physiology, affects your emotional and mental state. Of course, if you're a little bit down, you're just going to be like accentuating this
mm,
posture, looking on your phone, like, oh, and then just scrolling mindlessly on social media, perpetuating that cycle of self-pity. Or you can just
mm,
put the phone aside, stand up tall, smile, stand strong, because by changing your posture, changing your physiology, and taking a deep breath in, breathing the sunshine, breathing the nature around you, and just standing tall and breathing and being fully present, and all of a sudden
yeah.
I just instantly changed my state just by
Hmm.
changing my physiology and just change the way I breathe. So really,
Word.
these are the simple tools that you can do. Effort and attitude.
Attitude.
These are the two. Yeah, effort and
Fantastic.
attitude.
So, Remus, hopefully that helps in terms. Obviously, it's not just you. I think anyone
Mm,
can always do a
definitely.
lot more refinement in terms of their effort and attitude. Like for us too, I think. Speaking for
Mm,
myself, at least. But yeah, don't let the issue linger when you there's always a way to at least explore. When you start exploring and fill your mind with other stuff, all those thoughts will naturally go away. Like I remember it was Rick, who's that ultra marathoner again? The really tough
Hmm.
guy, the black guy.
David Goggins.
Yeah, David Goggins,
Bargains.
Goggins. So he runs ultra marathons. Like I think he runs, 50 plus K sometimes a day. And by the time he's done all that in a day, there's no real space for like negative thoughts anymore. It's just like
Mm,
it's just
yeah.
his body recovering, and it's in this drive mode constantly to
Hmm.
create and build for other people, right? Oh yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Totally. So
Yeah.
so the thing is though, when you don't sweat the small stuff, go sweat for large stuff. Like it's the same thing. You
Mm,
have to flip your mindset in terms of create some big stuff for yourself that you want to shift. Truly go design a life, worth living that you want to live. If you see, this joy of connecting with people and communicating with big crowds and stuff, because that's something that you want, then go for it. I don't know if that's your goal, but I'm just saying, now that you have this a little mental block in terms of people thinking about your accent, for
Mhm.
example. maybe it's because you want to connect with more people. So
Mm.
remember what Andre was talking about, the flip side of the coin. There's always the two sides. So go check out the other side, and challenge yourself. The worst that's going to happen is, I don't know, it doesn't work, but try it out.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, don't sweat the small stuff means go sweat the large stuff. Like go and find large stuff to sweat about, right? So I just want to
Yeah.
get all job. Okay,
It's
that's
good.
right.
Yeah.
It's
We're here to
good.
inspire. And then just to add to that, like when you're looking for that big stuff, right? That good stuff to sweat about, you're collecting evidence. You're taking that extra
Yes.
step. And as you collect
Mm.
evidence, you have proof that you are capable, you are worthy,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
naturally your self-esteem goes up and as well as your confidence.
Exactly. And then you'll know what doesn't work. Thomas Edison, he said every time there's a failure, it's like he figured out 100 ways of things not working.
Yeah.
So it's really just shifting what failure means.
Mm.
Then
Mm.
your approach to it shifts a lot. So let's say if you were talking to someone and they don't like your appearance, the way you sound, the way you move, even, then don't go talk to someone else. I think those aren't your
Yeah.
people, first of all.
Totally.
But let's say if you truly care about the person that person you want to connect with, then go figure out your language. How do you speak better? Figure out your image. Go work out, be healthy, find an image consultant, and then third, it's like move better or something. Yeah, learn about how to communicate with body language. But yeah, so yeah, all these things, find solutions and look at the flip side of the coin. What you're worried about, there's always the other side, and try to go see that. But no, I think this has been a fantastic chat.
Mhm.
And Remus, thank you so much for participating with us
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Really appreciate people engaging and us trying to share our own experiences and journey. But no, I I always appreciate you two and Luke, as you guys know. So
Mhm.
I don't have to
Yeah.
say too
Yeah.
much to
Yeah. I
that
want to
anymore.
acknowledge Remus. I want to acknowledge your vulnerability
Yes.
and you're just
Yeah.
sharing there. And that
Yeah.
allows us to have these type of conversations, right? And just really at the end of
100%.
the day, just really be human with each
Yep.
other.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, totally. Any last words, my fine gentlemen, for you
Mm.
guys?
Yeah, man. Like,
Uh
it just goes back to like the subtle art of not giving a F, like Mark Manson,
yeah,
right? You
Mm.
totally,
have so
totally.
much time in the day and so much energy. So it's like, how many, I'm going to swear, fucks do you
Fucks.
give
Yeah.
Yeah, do you
out
give? Totally.
in a day?
Totally, totally.
So it's going
I
Mm.
back
agree.
to, like, yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah.
Give no fucks.
Your life
Mm.
force.
GNF.
It's your life force. Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. Exactly. Luke, for you, any last
Yeah, I guess
words?
I guess for me, what I shared earlier is if you're ever feeling down, head outside, walk barefoot on the grass, pull your shoulder blades back, look up into the sky. If you want, put some AirPods on, put your headphones, and put music. Music is an amazing anchor to get
Mm,
you out of a state where you're just like, oh, life sucks. Put
totally.
something inspirational, motivational, or feet to the earth, stand tall, pull your shoulder blades back, and just breathe in nature. Because I find there's something about and healing about nature. And by focusing on that space, you're
Yeah.
open versus
It's
closed
infinite.
off to the world. Yeah, you feel
100%.
infinite. You will feel
Yeah.
part of the universe, and the universe
Yes.
is a part of you. So I think that is
Salsa.
key. Get outside. Yeah,
Totally
yeah,
salsa
exactly.
music.
Stop, drop,
Another
dance.
tip,
Yeah,
yeah. Another tip on that too, because I come from a music background and a music family. You can access those music that you remember as a child, for example, or during stages that you are at your peak. You can access all that music from, let's say, Spotify, from Apple Music,
yeah.
from YouTube even. It will bring you back to that same state. You don't have to listen to the spa kind of wavy type music. If
Mm,
that helps you, go for it. But remember, you can access time. You can jump. You can basically time
Mm.
travel with music a lot.
Absolutely.
So use that as a tool for you, Remus, and our audience here. But appreciate you guys again. I will be back home next week for our Tuesday chat in the studio. But you guys are wonderful. Thank you again, Remus, for being vulnerable. And same thing with Luke and Andre. Love you guys and big hugs too,
What
right?
do you got?
So
Okay. One
I'll see
love.
you
virtual
guys soon.
hugs.
A natural high
All
five.
right. See you guys.
Queen high fives. Okay. See you.